All right, 10-3, division champs. The Packers run the North. They're the kings of the North. Use whatever crazy uh, catchphrase you want to use. But the reality is Saturday night, they get the Panthers. And I said going into the year, really looking at the schedule as we move forward, the Panthers were a team that scared me a little bit, maybe more than the traditional teams are going to play, the Bears, the Lions. I know everyone's been talking about the Titans, but for whatever reason, the Panthers were a team that, was in my mind a little bit more. And I think the biggest reason is because the Panthers have real legitimate weapons on offense, right? Robbie Anderson is a guy that can absolutely take the top off of a defense. He's a guy the Packers supposedly pursued in a trade, right? Curtis Samuel is an amazing little gadget player. And if DJ Moore is back from COVID protocol, that's three wide. Now, here's what I would argue with all of that, right? The Packers' strength is their secondary. Teams that want to throw the ball against the Packers, generally you're putting the Packers in a position where they can rush Preston Smith and they can rush Rashawn Gary and they can rush Zadarius Smith and Kenny Clark and Kingsley Keke and those things generally is where Mike Pettin, wants you to be, is he wants you to be in passing situations because he can let his guys pin their ear back and get to the quarterback. And generally with the four guys that the Packers have, they don't need to bring much pressure, right? Now, all that being said, this is a Matt Rule football team. It's a Matt Rule football team with Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback. They want to run the ball more consistently than a lot of teams. Okay, I would say they're overall an average offense. I think a Teddy Bridgewater team is going to have ups and downs. I think Teddy Bridgewater can be a player that you catch lightning in a bottle with. He can play. He can get hot, but he's streaky. He can be very inconsistent. Surrounding him with a consistent run game is the best way for him to succeed. The jet sweep and the gadgety stuff and the screen plays to Curtis Samuel, using Mike Davis to truly be a running threat is really the best way for them to excel offensively. Offensive line wise, they've done a pretty good job of protecting Bridgewater. I think Bridgewater's mobility helps with that. I've never been a huge fan of Russell Okung and Taylor Mouton, who are their two tackles. Taylor Mouton obviously, is a guy that they drafted in the second round, was going to be a free agent. They're going to pay a bunch of money to him. I think they're okay inside. I would expect the Packers to win the battle up front. I think the Packers personnel along the defensive line is better than the personnel of the Panthers up front. And truly, that's a matchup the Packers are going to have to win. They're going to have to minimize the effect of the running game by the Panthers because of the play action impact of it more than the actual running game impact of it. Matt Rule, yes, is going to want to run the ball, but he's going to want to run the ball to take the deep shot to Robbie Anderson, to hit the crossing routes to Ian Thomas, and guys like that. The biggest story to me in this game is the defense of the Panthers, right? The Packers offense has been at times completely unstoppable, but they're going to get a test. They're going to get a test in, first round pick in Auburn standout Derek Brown, partnered with Bravion Roy, the former Baylor standout, two stout, big, strong, physical guys inside. The Packers' strength has not been their interior offensive linemen, the girth, right? The earth mover type guys that you think of when they had, Sitton and Lang. As much as the Packers want to run the ball, as much as they've done a good job running the ball, the guys that they have inside, especially with Lindsley not in there and Jenkins not playing guard, they just don't have the same earth movers. So those two guys up front really pose a challenge. And they pose a challenge because they allow Tahir Whitehead and Shaq Thompson and Jeremy Chin, to truly run and play sideline to sideline. And if you think of the Packers offense and you think of the jet sweep actions, you think of the screens that they like to throw, the smoke screens where they're running the ball, but Rodgers just gets it out to Devontae Adams. So the strength of the Panthers defense is the linebackers' pursuit and flow to the ball and their ability to stay in a lot of base defense. You will see them play some nickel, but primarily you're going to see them play Jeremy Chin outside the box because of his hybrid role as a safety and a linebacker. I do think the advantage for the Packers obviously is to throw the ball. But as we've seen, the Packers have had more success, and Rodgers has had the most success he's ever had in his career with play action throws. So you have to have enough success in your running game to set up your boots and waggles, and then eventually your deep shots in the play action game. I think the Packers, for me, with their split flow action, with the tight end being a kick out guy for them, have been really good in their boots and waggle game. I think their big shot plays have been limited. Mostly, obviously, right, MVS plays. But that's why the running game is so critical for the Packers to be able to get those things to work and to really integrate Robert Tonyan and some of those deep crossing routes by Adams and Lazard and those guys, regardless of the effectiveness of the run game. The ability to run the ball consistently sets those things up. And again, the quality of the linebackers for the Panthers is going to make that challenging at times. The player that stands out when you watch the tape of the Panthers is Brian Burns. Brian Burns of Florida State, defensive lineman, drafted after Rashawn Gary, I think at 15 or 16 last year. Truly a standout guy, has been great, athletic, almost freak athlete, and is going to pose challenges for Rick Wagner and David Bakhtiari. The Packers have created a pretty clean pocket for Rodgers, not a lot of pressure. What would be things to watch this week is the pressure that they can get from the interior, because even if Brian Burns has some success around the edge, Rodgers is a master of being able to step up into the pocket and deliver pass, and then step up into the pocket and escape. When he has pressure up the middle, it's generally been something that's truly affected Rodgers and at times limited his success. I think of truly the most success that the Bears have had against the Packers really didn't come from, Leonard Floyd and Khalil Mack. It came when Roy Robertson, whatever his name is, and Akeem Hicks were getting pressure up the middle. So when Rodgers tried to evade, he couldn't because, Khalil Mack was rushing around the edge. So thing to watch, right, is that battle up front with the Packers offensive line, their ability to neutralize the interior pass rush, get movement in the run game, and have success in the run game is going to take some of the effect away for Brian Burns, right? And ultimately, more important than anything, set up the play action and the deep shot game. So those are the things to watch. I truly think the Packers are going to win the football game. I think the Packers overall are a better team. They have more talent. They have momentum right now. But this is a team that can absolutely come in on a Saturday night and can give the Packers trouble. And if it's a close game in the fourth quarter, I would bet on Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur, given, their success. But it's a scary proposition. It's a scary proposition when those teams are close. And the Panthers last year played the Packers to, a stop on the goal line with Kyle Allen at quarterback. So it's a game that I don't think, the Packers should be fearful of. But as fans, we need to be realistic that this isn't a walk in the park like maybe some people think it is, especially given, I really think Matt Rule is a great head coach. He's got Joe Brady as his offensive coordinator, who's one of the most up-and-coming rising stars in the coaching ranks. And they're a team that is not a complete project yet, but is a team that is definitely talented, definitely has good players. And the matchup, as always in a lot of cases, up front is going to determine how this game ends. So a 4-9 team, that's sneaky good. I mean, they are sneaky good and could give the Packers some trouble. The biggest thing is, can the Panthers score enough points to compete with the Packers? Or, in the other round, can the Panthers force the Packers into mistakes and limit their possessions like the Colts did, or obviously the Buccaneers game, the Buccaneers dominated the Packers. But on the year, the Panthers have a total of 307 points. They've given up 332. Just in comparison, they've actually given up more points than the Packers defense, who have given up 323. But the Packers lead the NFL with 410 points, right? So, the Packers should be able to move the ball. I think obviously not playing with crowd noise or anything like that, Aaron Rodgers is going to have the ability to control the line of scrimmage, and I do think the Packers will win. So that is Packers Panthers Saturday night football this week.